Hi, and welcome to this first video in a series that I'm going to be doing on what I'm doing to develop my speed around the drum set. For a long time, one of the most difficult things I've found is getting really fast single strokes around the kit. Getting them on the snare and sort of on individual toms in large groups, like, I never found particularly difficult. Moving around the kit in fast groups, that kind of thing, very similar to what Virgil Donati does quite a lot, and you'll see that the exercise I'm going to talk about is quite heavily influenced by him. That kind of thing I always found extremely difficult. I spent a lot of time practicing what I would call traditional snare drum method, so I worked a lot on fingers, a lot on wrist development, so playing like a flat German matched grip. Got some good power and speed with those, but I always found it very difficult to move around the kit, to play the drums in the way I was hearing them, I guess. And so recently I came upon a system of weightlifting, I guess about 3 or 4 months ago, called strong lifts, which uses, it sounds complicated, it's called linear progressive loading. So basically every time you do the exercise, it gets a little bit heavier. And so I came back and started thinking about, what I really wanted to be able to play on the kit and how I like to be able to play drums. And I want to be able to play in quite an aggressive, forceful style for a long time, which requires a lot of power and endurance and stamina. So I set about thinking about, okay, well, what do I actually want to be able to do, and how can I begin to design it? So I've attached the PDF attached to this video that you can download to have a look at, and this kind of outlines some of the stuff I'm going to talk about. But essentially what I'll do first is show you the exercise method that I've chosen to use. And I based it off of groups of 2 and 3 on each drum, and I call them reversals. I mean, now the first thing I would say is this is not my original idea. I actually saw this from a Virgil Donati tutorial quite a long time ago, and sort of recently just come to use it. So I'll show you the exercise. Basically I start on the floor tom playing a group of 3, then a group of 2, group of 2, and a group of 3, and then I go back 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. It's very simple. It sounds like this. Okay. You actually get a phrase that I think is in 5/8 or 5/16, something like that. I haven't really worked it out, but it certainly goes across the quarter note when you play it. I'm going to write it down in. I'll do a Guitar Pro PDF. Put the time signatures in there so you can see it. It's extremely simple. Getting up to high tempos is the difficulty. So what I did was I started at 110 beats a minute. And I've been doing it for about a month now, and every time I do it, I play 2 sets of warm-ups, and then 5 minutes each, and then I play for 10 minutes at my maximum speed. So my maximum speed at the moment is about 160. So I'll do a warm-up at around 140 for 5 minutes. So I'm not going to sort of do the warm-up on this video, but what I will do just quickly is sort of give you a quick idea of what that sounds like. And it's quite hard to hear the metronome over this, so you're going to have to forgive me if I go slightly out of time. So. And so I will maintain that for about 5 minutes. then I'll take a break for a couple of minutes, let my arms relax. Then I'll do another set of 5 minutes for 5 minutes at 10 beats faster at 150, relax, and then I do 10 minutes at 160. Now every time I do it, the top speed goes up, so my next practice session will be at 162. Couple of things I've found. My grip has altered substantially since I started doing this, and I'm going to do a separate video just purely on the grip. But I used to play, what would you call it, Dave Weckl grip, I suppose, thumb and middle finger, like that. Okay. What's happened is, since doing this, I found that my thumb, when I'm moving around the drum, so I don't throw the stick away, my thumb's kind of moved actually underneath it, and just the amount of repetition I've been doing on it has, my brain has kind of adjusted my hands into their most natural, comfortable position, so that when I go, I don't really get any sort of feeling that the stick's going to fly out of my hands. The second thing I noticed is actually my forearms and hands aren't the problem. When you're doing something like this, for me, I found it's actually the shoulders. Because you're moving, especially here, I find this, I find that quite difficult. This one is easy. This I find quite a difficult manoeuvre. And I found that I get quite a lot of stiffness in the shoulder. When I say stiffness, it starts to ache. And so actually the problem isn't the problem of stamina here in the hands, it's actually here. And so it's just something to bear in mind if you start practicing stuff like this. Also, you'll notice my configuration's quite specifically set up to do this kind of thing. I really like symmetry. I'm a big fan of Mike Mangini, although I don't play like him, so in the sense that I'm doing two-handed leading, but I like having the floor tom rather than a load of rack toms. It just makes more sense to me. If you don't have this, what you can do is just practice 3-2-3, so kind of you can end it wherever you want. The beauty of it is once you get it going, you can play endlessly, because you just throw in reversals. Wherever you like, and you can go backwards and forwards ad infinitum. Generally when I work on this I just stick with the drums, but I have done some stuff involving the cymbals, but I find it's easier just to stick with the drums to start with, because I've only been doing it for a month. I plan on sticking with it for about a year. My target speed is 210 beats a minute, semi-quavers around the kit, so 160, it's not bad. The other thing you'll notice is I've got them flat. This is something I picked up from Seth Davis. He plays for Exorder, and I really like his drumming. It's amazing, really fast. And so I watched, he's got a hand tutorial out, which I'll link at the bottom here, and he talks about having your rack toms quite flat. And I'd never done that, I'd always had them quite angled, and it does give you more rebound and more attack when you're playing. And so I have them very, very low, so they're on quite an even plane. Now, the other problem I had is this baby here. I'm actually considering, and I may well do it, I may not, I don't know yet, actually transferring that to there and having these two fixed, because I don't generally use pedal hi-hat very much. The bands I play in are mostly double bass bands, and so I work a lot on, that. Those kind of patterns being played a lot, bleed. And so one of the difficulties is catching your sticks on the hi-hat. Now, I'm not sure if that's, at the moment, I don't know if that's just me needing to do more practice, which it probably is, or whether I actually need to move that out of the way. Although to be fair, I have the ride cymbal on this side, it doesn't really interfere as much. And I do like having that hi-hat there. So that just gives you a little insight. I also have, you might not be able to see it here on the camera, I have a small snare drum here that I sometimes put up here, and I can play triplets between the two. But just to go over the basic exercise one last time. 3, 2, 2, 3. Like that. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Try it out, let me know what you think. Cheers.